I'm happy to be here today with Dr. Howard Farran, the author of Uncomplicate Business. All it takes is people, time, and money. Howard, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today. I'd like to start with, why did you write this book? Who is your intended audience?
You know, my intended audience was when I turned 50 years old, my oldest boy, I have 4 boys, the oldest boy made me a granddaughter, and I was looking at little Taylor and I realized that, you know, my dad and both grandfathers, they all died at age 60. And I was 50, and here I had little Taylor, and I thought, you know, statistically, it's a great chance that if she ever grows up and goes into her own business, that I won't be here. So I thought to myself, I don't want to write my other books have been dentist to dentist.
Right.
So I wanted to write a book to dentists to just business owners, because I firmly believe that business is business. So you only manage 3 things: people, time, and money. Business only has 3 functions. You make something, sell something, watch the numbers. And it's so obvious that it doesn't matter if you're a dentist or selling donuts. It doesn't matter if you're a farmer, own a restaurant, a tanning salon. Business is just business.
When you visit businesses in your own personal life, you're out running errands and things like that, and you see a business that's clearly struggling, which of those 3 legs, people, time, or money, do you think businesses have the most difficulty with?
I will go to the grave saying it's just people.
Yeah.
In fact, it's funny, I was talking to a vet the other day, and he told me that I said, why didn't you go into dentistry? You have great teeth. I was examining his teeth. I said, with teeth like that, you should have gone to dentistry. He goes, you know, I was so dumb. He goes, I didn't want to deal with people. I'd rather deal with animals, but who brings in all the animals? People. So with your people, it's just, you know, it's just, how do you get your people on board to try to do any business faster, easier, higher quality, lower in costs? You know, just do what you're doing better, faster, more simple, lower costs. It's so easy.
Do you identify today more still as an entrepreneur or as a CEO?
That's a good, I never identify myself as a CEO, because my management style is you just find the best people and get out of their way. And I think, you know, I have 50 employees, which is the same size as an NFL football roster. Like the Arizona Cardinals have 50 players, the 50 best players, I might add. And so it's just, you know, how do you manage 50 people?
Do you have any morning rituals? Do you have any particular habits that you like to do every day to start a day right?
And my morning ritual is that when I wake up, I'm still like a kid. I just want to play. I'm addicted to my product. I have to check Dentaltown the first minute I wake up. I probably check it 5 times a day, and it doesn't matter if it's Christmas, Easter. I just love to see those people and their posts, and I feel like they're family. I just don't trade time for money. And then when I go to work, it's like my 4 boys, and when they were growing up, I mean, they would always play. And when I go to work, I have to get there 10 minutes early just because I want to walk around and say hi to Jan and hi to Christina and hi to, you know, I mean, I love the people I play with. I love what I'm doing.
Do you have any tips for hiring great people? Do you have certain qualities or things that you look for when you're trying to fill a position?
I think that what I see with CEOs is they never want to hire anyone smarter than them, better than them, faster than them. And here's an interesting thing about being humble. I still think that the greatest attribute any human can have in any aspect of life is humility. You just got to be humble, because if you're not humble, your friends and loved ones aren't going to tell you what's wrong. If you're arrogant, they're not going to tell you that you're about to walk off a cliff. And when everybody acts humble and you create an atmosphere where it's safe, and that's what, then now you can listen to your employees, so now they stay with you long periods of time. I still think if I could name one criteria that a CEO should have, it's humility.
Yeah.
Be humble.
What was your thought as you set out to create Dentaltown.com?
The reason I saw Dentaltown is because when I would go home from work and I would try to disengage from dentistry, root canals, and engage my 4 kids, so many times they wanted me to play with them in the sandbox, and I'm just there and thinking, my God, I did a root canal, it's swelled up. Should I have not finished it in 1 appointment? Should I have put them on antibiotics? Was it the right antibiotics? Should I put them on 2 antibiotics? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I just, and everybody who loved me, if I called my dad, he would say, well, you know, tomorrow I'll offer mass for this. My mom would say, well, I'll go say a rosary right now. Everybody, my two older sisters are Catholic nuns, everybody would want to say a prayer, and I just wanted to talk to another dentist. And I just thought that, back to humility, I could totally see myself sharing my mistakes. Right. Not the trophy, not the deer head above the fireplace trophy, like, oh, look at the big animal I shot or something. Right. But be able to sit there and say, look at the shot I missed. Can you help me? I'm humble.
Yeah. Do you have any other business heroes of yours that you see from the outside as them also being very risk tolerant?
The funniest statement is all my best friends, they're all dead. I met them all in a book. I met them all in an autobiography. I will always go to the grave saying all readers are leaders.
Yes.
And now what's really interesting is, you know, it's hard to sit down in a chair and read a book forever, and it's a lot easier to multitask. And so I see books coming back now because monkeys can listen to a book while they're on the treadmill, while they're doing laundry, while they're cleaning the dishes, washing their car. And I just think it is just so magical that, you know, Thomas Watson Jr. is dead, but I had a conversation with him inside my brain for 6 hours reading his book. I mean, Rockefeller, the book Titan, and I mean Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, all these great people.
Finish the following sentence. If I didn't go to dental school, I would have
probably opened up a restaurant with my dad. My dad, I grew up in, we were so darn poor. We were so poor we didn't know we were poor. My mom and dad were Catholic. They had 7 kids in about a week. You know, we just lived in the poorest part of town. In the summers, I didn't even know what air conditioner was. I thought in the summer everyone lived in their underwear for the whole summer. I mean, I just, you know. And he saved up his money and he bought a Sonic drive-in franchise, and that was, I mean, that was like hitting the lottery. And watching the love of that, and then in our area was another Pizza Hut founder, Dan Carney, was born there. The Shaw family of Godfathers. So there's a lot of restaurateurs. There was a lot of big action. It was fun. It was eating French fries and onion rings and cheeseburgers and car hops, and it was just a blast. The only problem I had with that is I would go to work with my dad, and he was my hero and my idol, and I had a blast, but I didn't really find satisfaction in making a cheeseburger.
What are some of the business lessons you learned through your father?
Well, that's another great question, because a lot of people, you know, they say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. A lot of people sit there and they whine about their childhood because all these things their mom or dad might have done wrong. It's like, well, aren't those like the greatest lessons you learned? I would say the biggest lesson that I learned from my father was obviously his mistakes. I mean, I learned, you know, create your own destiny, own your own business. I learned all the great things from Dad. But where he had heartache is he had partners. And some of them over the years stole and embezzled and got caught and convicted and went to jail. And that was a real ugly deal. I learned the biggest thing of my dad is love many, trust few, paddle your own canoe. And I would rather own 100% of one restaurant than 20% of 5 restaurants around town with 4 other partners, you know?
On the topic of partners, business partners, many people go into business with a partner. They want to start a business with a friend, a family member, etc. For the people that are approaching small business with partners, what advice would you give them as they start down that road? Well,
number one is it's got to be complete trust, complete transparency. You can't lie. You know, if you lie to someone, they don't trust you. If they don't trust you, they don't like you. They're not going to love you. They're not going to be honest. I would go back to everything you learned in the 10 Commandments or everything you learned in preschool. You know, you got to be transparent. I think a big part of success is how many, you know, again, success is counterintuitive. So a social animal wants everybody to like them, so you'll help feed me, raise my kids. We all work together. You know, the book, It Takes a Village to Raise a Child. I completely agree with that. But if you're, but a lot of success is counterintuitive, and the counterintuitive is success is how many uncomfortable conversations are you willing to have? I mean, there's a 4,000-pound elephant in the room, and we're all programmed to be nice to each other and to have a humble environment, and always keep talking about the uncomfortable situations,
Right.
you know.
Can you think of any major business decisions you've made over your career where you would like a do-over?
I would say yes. I would say when I sat there and grumbled about an employee under my breath for years and years and years and always justified all these reasons why it was the best person. And then when I finally pulled the trigger and switched out that wide receiver, that running back, that quarterback with a different person, I just sat there and saying, well, why didn't I do that a year ago?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say the biggest regrets are the employees. Other big regrets I had was a real estate move. One of my first real estate moves. I got here in '87. We had Black Monday back then, and real estate collapsed. So, you know, I've been through a lot of booms and busts. And at 48th and Warner, there were 3 pads, and they used to be worth a lot of money, and then they were massively marked down. And the corner pad was $300, and I thought, you know what? But down the street, half a block, there's only one for $125. I'm going to get that one for $125 because I'm going to save some money.
Right.
When real estate's location. The person who bought the pad for $300 sold it like 6 months later for $600 to Dairy Queen. And my little $125, since it wasn't on 48th and Warner, since it wasn't the premium, it took me 3 years to dump it. I still double my money, but so I wasn't going for it.
Right. What's your recommendation to get them more engaged in watching their numbers? How should they go about that?
Well, I would go back to, you know, you have to have uncomfortable conversations with people. You have to have most uncomfortable conversations with yourself. I mean, so many people throughout history said, you know, it's easy to conquer another country's army. It's hardest to conquer your own self. And you have to be honest with yourself. A lot of people just aren't honest. If you don't like accounting, if you don't like, if you hate that, you're probably not going to get good at it. You're probably going to spend all day long doing what you have fun. You want to play all day and just happen to get paid for it. So that's where a business owner's partner or spouse comes in handy. You know, I see 2 business partners working the most when this person's like, I want to sell. And the other one's like, I want to do accounting and HR, you know, so they complement each other. Most businesses in America are family-owned businesses, and the husband and wife are excelling because the dad wants to farm, and the mom wants to pay all the bills and see if she needs to hedge fund her corn crop or Milo or whatever. So I would say bring it in-house. That's the most important. Bridge between you as the owner and your CPA. Hire a bookkeeper.
Yeah. You have a passion that you've expressed in the book around mission statements. For a small business that's just getting off the ground, what do you think comes first, the mission statement for the business or the owner starting to form his team and then developing a mission statement?
I still think the best mission statements, I mean, if you look at the Ritz-Carlton, if you look at, you know, the greatest countries, they're all just a few or just, you know, just create an amazing customer experience.
Yeah.
You know, find amazing people to create amazing experience.
Looking ahead, do you see a point in time where you'll retire?
No, I absolutely don't. And I find that interesting on Shark Tank. I love Shark Tank.
Yeah,
I have
too.
to admit, I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
And and they're all good. They're all different. They're all good. And I don't know how much that is fun and drama, them bantering back and forth. But this guy, a couple times when someone's talking about their idea and then they mention their exit strategy.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you're already talking about your exit strategy? I'm out. And look at the great ones. Sam Walton found dead at his desk. He used to fly from Bentonville in his own plane to Houston to get his interferon treatment for multiple myeloma as cancer. And then he would fly back. And they would say, no, you're going to be sick and rest. And he's like, if I'm going to be sick, I'm going to be at my desk. I love what I do. They found him dead at his desk. Politics. France's President Mitterrand found dead at his desk. Herb Kelleher. You know, he's so old that he got a CEO and everything, but he still goes to the office every day. And he doesn't want to confuse anybody. He won't go to the board meetings.
Right.
He won't go to the company picnics. He doesn't want to be sitting there while the CEO is trying to be the leader.
Right.
But God, he's
needs
80
to be
years
involved.
old. He wants to be there because he loves it. This is his whole life.
In your book, you ask the rhetorical question, how will you be remembered by your community when you retire or die? So I ask you, how would you like to be remembered? What would you like your legacy to be?
You know, it was leave the playground better than you found it. And I remember going back to dental school, and I mean, one of the first instruments they ever taught us was a Hollenbach instrument. And Dr. Hollenbach went to University of Missouri, Kansas City.
Right.
And the teacher rhetorically said, so, you know, when you're dead, do you think there'll be an instrument named after you? And I remember going back to the house where 5 of us dental students lived for 4 years and thinking, do you think we'll touch dentistry? Do you think we'll leave dentistry better than we found it? I think I've touched dentistry. I think I've lowered the decay rate in Phoenix with water fluoridation. And then the clinical practice, you know, fixing people up as the years. Dentistry, I feel extremely proud of the fact that I was able, when I saw the internet, to see it and take the great internet technology that Al Gore gave us all, and applied it to dentistry to say, hey guys, the whole motto is with the internet and Dentaltown, we don't have to be alone anymore. So let's all start talking and trying to do dentistry better, faster, easier.
With that, Howard, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today and share your insights on business.
And thank you for 15 years, Tom.
My
You're an
pleasure,
amazing man. We're
Thank
like
you.
Batman and Robin, and I think I'm Robin in this relationship.
You're very kind.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Howard.
Just create an amazing experience, find amazing employees, and create amazing experience. That's what every mission statement would be. We have amazing employees, and we create amazing stuff.
Awesome.
I should have named this An Amazing Book.
Right.
By an amazing person. And I'm very excited. I mean, this is something that, you know, if you had a 2-hour plane flight and then a dental course and a 2-hour flight book back home, you could read the whole book.